Hello and welcome to the Justice Factor. President Cyril Ramaphosa last week cut short his visit to the United Kingdom to deal with political violence in the Northwest Province. Will Supra Mahumapelo, the Premier, now be fired? My guest later today is ANC Northwest MPL and SA Communist Party leader Madoda Sambata. After that discussion, we'll give you two big losers of the week. But first, the ANC has announced that former Western Cape Premier Ebrahim Rasool will lead the party's election campaign in that province. Can the ANC unseat the DA in the Western Cape? My guest now is ANC Western Cape Elections Head, Ambassador Ebrahim Rasool. Ebrahim Rasool, welcome to the show. I don't know whether to say congratulations or to feel sorry for you. What makes you think, after the ANC was demolished in 2016 and 2014, that it can win the elections in 2019 in the Western Cape?
No, thank you very much, Justice. I think you should just wish me strength and not congratulations. But I do think that there is a convergence of two factors. The one is what is commonly called the Ramaphoria. People are seeing an ANC that is reforming, an ANC that they can believe again, an ANC under good leadership, an ANC dealing with the skeletons of corruption and all of those kind of things. So that is creating an optimism, and at the same time, we are seeing a version of Harikiri that the DA is busy with in the province. It is facing some governance crises like water. It's facing internal crises like trying to get rid of the Mayor Patricia de Lille. And I think that what those two converging factors begin to give us an opportunity for is firstly to get the ANC out of the trough into which it has dug itself in the Western Cape from the mid-20s% in the last election, and get it back into a zone where it is A, respectable again, and B, where it is in striking distance of winning the trust of the people of the Western Cape, and C, in which it can correct some of the problems that I think are going wrong in the Western Cape and Cape Town. Let me ask you this. Are you saying that the people of the Western Cape will believe that just the emergence of one leader, Cyril Ramaphosa, by 179 votes at the conference in Nasrec, can mean that, oh, it's all kumbaya, it's all going to be happy ever after? I mean, in 2009, the people of the Western Cape said, you know what, we don't like this ANC, and they walked away. Surely they don't think that the emergence of one man will turn things around. I don't think that the emergence of one man turns things around, but I think that subsequently what one is seeing is a clean-up campaign. One is seeing prosecutions beginning to happen. One is seeing honesty returning to government. One is seeing investment returning. The ratings agencies beginning to change their mind. A fourth quarter growth rate of 3%. And I think that those are not the kumbaya issues. Those are real factors that I think are at play that matter to South Africans, and particularly also matters to the Western Cape at exactly the same time that we are yo-yoed with day zero. We are yo-yoed with mayors that are
But before you go to the DA, and I'm going to ask you about the DA, but I want to stop you there and ask you, the key thing here is that you say all these things have changed, but the shadow of Jacob Zuma, who you didn't mention by name, but was your leader and the leader of the ANC for 10 years, the shadow of Jacob Zuma still lingers over the ANC. In the Northwest right now, a leader who people are rioting against refuses to step down. He's a Jacob Zuma supporter. People in KwaZulu-Natal yesterday on Sunday were singing, oh, what has Jacob Zuma done? Surely people are not that stupid not to see that there is a Jacob Zuma ANC, that it's not all Ramaphosa.
No, I think that you are absolutely correct. But what people are seeing is no longer one-way traffic. What people are seeing is that the contest is on for the soul of the African National Congress. And that's what we are calling people to join us in, to strengthen this ANC so that those ghosts of the past are buried, and that the rising new dawn that we are hoping will concretize over the next few months and years, that must be supported. And I think that there's enormous people of goodwill who want us to succeed because their own futures are at stake. If we succeed, everyone succeeds in South Africa. And that, I think, is the simple belief that people have about the way in which we must reconstruct the ANC and thus South Africa.
Is the ANC in the Western Cape united? You don't have a chair person. Marius Fransman was scoped out because of his all sorts of shenanigans. Is the ANC in the Western Cape united? And further to that, are you running for chairperson of the ANC in the Western Cape?
I'm not running for chairperson. I'm not running for premier. I'm simply responding to a request for me by the national leadership and the provincial leadership that I should head this campaign. People have a sense that the last one who could win anything in the Western Cape may have the recipe for it. I'm hoping to update the application so that we can see whether that is being done. But is the ANC in the Western Cape united? I met with them today, and I must say, if they are not united in love, which is difficult in the ANC, then certainly they may be united in the joint interest that we can improve the position of the ANC in the Western Cape and we can win the trust of the people of the Western Cape.
How important is the issue of race in this contest for next year in particular? In the press conference, both yourself and Fikile Mbalula spoke about Africans and colors, spoke about dignity and the dignity of those two communities. Is the ANC walking away from the ideal of a united and non-racial South Africa? How important is race in this matter?
I want to say that probably the biggest casualty of the last 10 years has been non-racialism. We have seen minorities leave the ANC, and I think that what we are saying is we need to bring them back. And I'm not simply speaking about coloreds and Indians. I also believe that there are many, many whites who want to have a successful country, and our appeal is to them as well to be able to join us in this. I think that what we are seeing is the re-emergence of a racial narrative in South Africa. Colonialism is glorified. Africans are spoken about as immigrants from the Eastern Cape and so forth. And so I think that, and spaces, public spaces are increasingly becoming fairly exclusive zones for certain communities. And I think that we need to get a conversation going amongst people. We need again a narrative that non-racialism is achievable, and we need to be able to turn our back on all of the negative things that have happened over the last 10 years.
You said today that the people want the ANC of 2018, not of last year. Yet you were a leader in the past, and you referred to this of the ANC. You left under a cloud in 2008. Do you think that people will buy that story, that this is a new ANC? Many will say, you yourself are of the past. Many others, you left in the middle of a major battle with Cebisi Skwatsha, that people will say, it's more of the same.
I think one people's past is another person's future. One person's history is another person's experience. And so I think that what we need to do is to get onto the experience of what the ANC did, what we did in government. We need to complete the unfinished business. And I certainly want to say that if, for example, on the narrative of crime, that is such a heavy experience and burden for the people of the Western Cape, we need to say, in that past, we had 20,000 Bambananis patrolling the townships and helping people live their lives. And so I think that that's what we give up. The cloud that you speak about was certainly rain clouds also at that point, and I think that we're sitting with a water crisis today that we warned about but was not heeded. And so I really think that what was able to happen since December Nasrec was certainly a way in which a convergence of interests within the ANC have made us understand that harking back to all those things in the past, that's not going to be useful for us, that there's something far more precious that we hold in common, and that is a memory of a deep struggle that brought us liberation and the need to fulfill the promise of that liberation.
And many people would say that's why people voted for the DA in 2009. You didn't deliver on that promise. But one last question to you.
No, I would contest that, Justice.
Yeah?
I would contest that, because I do believe that we did have a non-racial conversation going, that we did have 20,000 peacekeepers on the ground, that we did begin to build the Berg River Dam and all of those kind of things, and that certainly I left at the point when the economy of the Western Cape was growing at 5.8%. And that, I think, and the unemployment rate down at 23%. Those, I think, are not undelivered expectations.
Ebrahim Rasool, always a pleasure to speak to you. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Justice.
After the break, we ask if this is Cyril Ramaphosa''s last few days in office in the Northwest.